It's running, you know.
All right.
But after this show's over with and done as well, get the whole staff quickly up on stage and take a picture with you, just with everybody.
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
that'd be all right. But you were just saying that you're into the weather.
I love it.
And so what's your spin on climate change from studying it, you know?
I think, well, look, I read a lot of Judith Curry. I love Judith Curry. Judith Curry was on the, intergovernmental panel on climate change. She was on Barack Obama stuff. She was one of the top people there was. Then she started going, well, wait a second, that doesn't add up. And that, like the 97% consensus, it's not true. That's been debunked 100 times.
What's 97%
Where
consensus?
97% of scientists agree that the
Oh.
climate is changing. But that's not true. You know, they all filled out their little part of the stuff they study, and they agreed to that. So when you, and then tons of them didn't even turn it in. So out of the ones they sent out, very few were sent back, and the ones that were sent back, they agreed on their portion. They might not have agreed on the other portion, but they didn't say that. So it's totally, I mean, you can go read about how that's been debunked and how they do it. But there's so many people that don't, here's how you shut down debate. There's no debate, it's over, it's settled science. There's never settled science. But here's the thing, that's why they changed the name from global warming to climate change, because people saw, well, global warming, it's freaking freezing over here. It's colder than it's ever been. So that ain't working, so they changed it to climate change. Because yes, the climate changes. The climate changes all the time. The argument is how much does humans cause with climate change?
Correct.
That's it. And a lot of scientists say nothing, if any. Some say they don't know. And some say, well, it might cause a little bit, but it's not enough to be spending all of this money and bankrupting places. You know, it's a money grab. That's all it is. It's a money distribution grab. And when you look at it and you study it, it's like that. And they'll make up a date and then they'll go, well, it's been warmer from, how hot was it 1 million years ago? They don't know. They kind of know. You know, they don't really know, but whatever it was, it's definitely not happening now. You know what I mean?
I read some news feed because I'm one that gets up and gets on the phone and reads through the news feeds from everything. You know, that they were going, we might be not going into a climate change of warming. We might be getting back to normal from the ice age. Yeah. Like we're just now getting back to it's like,
the
but
thing
who
is,
knows?
there's no common sense, but they shut down debate and they won't debate you. None of them will debate anybody because they say it's settled. Science is never settled. It's not settled ever.
Right.
You know, but you just have to use common sense. What caused glaciers to melt and form the Great Lakes? Obviously, it was a lot of parts per million in the air that caused it to melt. Where'd it come from? And it's like John Kerry said.
Dinosaur poop.
Well, no, it's what John Kerry said. I remember Thomas Massey was talking about him. They were debating it. And John Kerry was sarcastic. You just don't, this isn't a real conversation. You don't understand how. And he goes, no, how did the glaciers melt and form how was there continents and now water is forming continents? You know, he's like, oh, you just don't know. This is not an honest debate. He goes, there were geological events that happened back then that caused, and Thomas Massey goes, so what? Did all that just stop? Did geological events just all of a sudden stop? Exactly. No, they didn't. So, yes, the client, look, obviously, I do this as a hobby. It's fun.
Right.
But people just got to use their head. No, the climate does change. I don't deny climate change. The climate is changing. How much does man have to do with the climate?
Right.
That's the issue.
That is.
And right now, nobody knows. And the ones that say they know never want to debate on the issue. And if you look at their bank account. I'm sure they're getting some sort of a grant from somebody. I mean, you know how it goes. You know how government stuff works. You do this, we pay you this, and you say this.
I remember watching an interview with Jimmy Carter about the Carter Foundation, where I didn't realize at that time that they mainly go in and try to negotiate civil wars and stuff like that in all these countries. And he made a statement going, when he talking about the money grab, he was going, you always you guys hear that these wars are about religious disputes, tribal disputes, moral disputes, but that we should be living this way. And he goes, there's never been a one that was not about money. He goes, they're all about money. Yeah. They're absolutely.
That's what my wife says. Everybody wants peace. There'll never be peace ever, because there's always going to be that one asshole.
Yeah,
that's a fact. But that whole look, you grew up. Look, we had an ice age coming in the 70s. And they made predictions. They made predictions. None of them came true. Now all of a sudden it's changed, and they make predictions. None of them come true. It's like people just use common sense. It's a money grab. Obviously, it's a money grab. I mean, you don't know what the temperature was 300 million years ago.
I was watching.
Was there a 300? Was maybe not even that? I mean, come on. It's totally ridiculous.
I watched a documentary that was just the history of the earth,
right.
Just the history of earth, and more is when Morgan Freeman, I think, does the voice behind it. But the thing about it was that I think it's 5 times in the history of the earth there has been some cataclysmic thing that is completely destroyed 95% of all life forms at that time, whatever it was. They go, it's happened, was either 4 or 5 times. And it said, we'll say it's 4. 3 were weather related. 1 they think was an asteroid, was the dinosaurs. But he goes, all 3 were weather related. It was just, so what, and that was the end of it was, I don't know if we're getting ready to go into another one, but it's not like this hasn't happened before. It's happened, we know, 3 times. Right. And what was the wild thing was that each one destroyed 95% of all life every time. But right now, of all life forms on Earth, all life forms make up 1% of all life forms that have ever been on the earth. Everything that's here right now is only 1%, they said, of everything that's ever been here from the history of life forms.
There's been a ton of stuff.
Tons.
Right.
Tons. It's just, we think we're the end all be all.
Well,
Yeah,
it's,
Yeah.
I mean, when you look behind a lot of these things, it's all money. Somebody wants this, somebody wants that. It's all about money. It's all about getting rich. It's all about power. They want power.
I wonder, that now
nobody can ever let anybody just live their life. It's like most people around. Here's what most people want. They want to make a decent living. Mm-hmm. They want to raise their kids. Mm-hmm. They want to be free. Mm-hmm. That's pretty much it.
Absolutely.
And there's always a government somewhere that wants to take that away from you.
Yep. And that within anything, I don't think people are concerned with much anything else, as long as they've got the opportunity to go out and.
Well, people, when you look at what goes on now, like with Trump derangement syndrome and all this, politics becomes people's religion. They worship the R next to their name. They worship the D next to their name. And when you say something bad about somebody with a D, that you've insulted and blasphemed their God, because that's all they live for. They live for wanting to be right and proving you wrong.
Yeah.
They live empty, pathetic lives.
What's wild to me is that I didn't know until this year, going into this election, was that now most everybody in this country is registered independent, not Democrat or Republican. 40%, I think, are independents. They're not going They're not going with a political party, as far as that goes. But
well, what's funny, like we're in the back of the comedy club in the green room. We always talk about these conversations. Sometimes it's like comics. you know, the wokeness is starting to subside a little bit
Yeah.
because people finally fought back, you know, and there were enough comics that were like, well, I'm going to be myself and I'm going to do my jokes. I got a built-in audience and I'm going to do what I do.
Absolutely.
And there were enough of them to do that. But thing that always got comedians in trouble, I think comedians are the perfect diverse set of people to show how we all should get along. Because you can be in a green room with 3 black guys and a Puerto Rican and a couple of Mexicans and a couple of white guys and a midget, and they're all back there. They're poking fun at each other, and they're laughing, and they're going to Denny's afterwards, and they're good friends, and they'll do anything for anybody.
Absolutely.
But when they get out in public, they forget that not everybody is a comedian.
Right.
And not everybody has a sense of humor like they got.
Right.
And then that what gets them in trouble. They'll say something in a group of people, and it makes the internet, you know. But if everybody just operated like a green room comedy club, man, we don't get along good because nobody would take offense at anything.
No. And I've gotten to the place now, and, you know, I will say this because people ask me, especially just in the past, you know, several years, well, have you seen a lot of the blowback on, you know, you getting people yelling stuff out of this at comics? And I go, no, it's a rarely, if
Right.
ever happens, you know.
Especially in Florida, everybody's packing. So you got to worry about it.
I get people that call in here and they actually will go, I've had my assistant call me and go, we just got a call from a guy wanting to know if it was okay if he brought in a concealed weapon. And I go, well, my answer's no, but it's concealed, right? I mean,
Yeah,
as
so
long
why
as
even
he
say
ain't carrying it on his hip, I don't give a shit. But
Why even say
I
anything?
don't want him coming here and doing a quick draw
I used to
demonstration.
do a joke about they wanted to start a bunch of woke comedy clubs, you know, like a funny
Oh,
ones.
God.
And the title then they were going to name them Now Leasing. Because nobody is going to that club.
No. Well, I've gotten to where now, often I'll say, when I finish my little warm-up set, I'll just say, remember, if you take anything a stand-up comic says seriously, you have missed the damn point.
Right.
You totally missed the whole point. We're not experts on any fucking thing, not
Right.
really, but we act like we are. We talk like we are. We're convincing, but don't think that we're, you know, up here trying to sway you one way or the other, you know. Because that's the one thing in my that I feel is as a club owner and for my audiences, I tell comics, I go, nobody comes to a comedy show to be enlightened or informed. Not
No,
really.
They come to forget about their troubles.
That's
and laugh
exactly
a little
right.
bit.
That's the only reason these people are in
Right.
here, you know. So when I do see comics sometimes that just have a strong point of view about something, I'm going, you know, as long as it's funny as fuck, I don't care what it is.
If it's
You know.
funny, like I never really do a lot of political humor.
No.
Unless it's funny.
Yes.
If it's funny, I'll do the joke. Mm-hmm. But if it's not funny, then...
We only did the Bernie Sanders one.
Yeah, I did that
tonight.
one.
It's
And
hilarious.
Did the one about what do you get when you cross ivermectin with hydrochloroquine? You get better. And then laugh like an... I still think I want to do another... I like all those little... Sometimes I'll write jokes that suck just so that I can do the Johnny Carson saver at the end. Like those fat jokes.
Yeah.
Like, there's only 2 really funny ones that I like to do, and one is the one about, you know what you gave my kids for Halloween? Candy wrappers. You know, and then the horse joke, which is funny, and then I'll do like 4 or 5 that I like them, but I know they're not going to get big laughs. I literally only do it to say when it's done, you do realize the show's been over for, you know, because to me that's the funny part of the joke. So those are always that's always fun to
Let's
do.
relook at where the exit signs are.
Did I mention the exits?
And the peeps was good.
Yeah, Peeps is funny.
That was for sure.
You know, a hard thing about me doing this last special is I've done so many things. It's hard. You're writing, and then you go through your notes of stuff that you never used and piece bits together from those and then rewrite them. And then you're like, oh, man, did I do that joke before? I can't remember. It's still in my notes. I didn't take it out.
Right.
So, like, there's a joke I'm doing now that I love, but I looked, it's on a set list, a typed set list from 2015. So I went through my albums from 2017, my album from 2019, and it's not on there. Because here's the deal. You'll shoot a special, they'll air the special, and then they'll put out a CD. So the CD, sometimes they'll cut something out, and nobody will hear it. And the special, it might be on the special, but not on the CD. So I went through everything, and I didn't hear that joke. So because I don't watch my stuff, I tape it. Once it's taped and out, I don't watch it.
Right. Yeah.
So I went through a bunch of them, but I'm a one-liner comedian and a goofy comedian, dumb jokes. So I have thousands of jokes in a note thing. And, early on, when you're like, you hit it, you have to get writers to help you. So I had 3 guys who would help me write.
Who were your writers back then?
Roger Rittenhouse, who I still have.
Yeah.
Rick Kearns.
Yeah, Rick.
And Todd Jordan.
Let me tell you a Rick Kearns story.
Oh, boy, there's a lot of them.
I know.
He's called me 9 times today, by
Has
the way.
he really? I always liked Rick. And early on, back at the old Holiday Inn Airport Marina, Rick was headlining. And it wasn't his first time headlining for us. Right. Maybe second or third time, So one show on a weekend, this guy walks in, very successfully, look dressed, very successful man, looked that way, with 3 women on the front row that were so incredibly gorgeous. I mean, so incredibly gorgeous, it fucked up everybody's show. I mean, no, from stage, you could not take your eyes off of them. They were just, and they weren't doing anything. They were just laughing. They were just having a good time. But they were just Christy Brinkley, drop dead fucking gorgeous, all 3 of them. So, I kind of did something with them, and then the next act goes up, and everybody had to comment on them a little bit, but it's all good nature. Well, right. Rick gets up there, and Rick decides that these people are gonna,
right?
That he's gonna put them in their place, I guess, or whatever, and they're not doing anything. They're just there for the show.
Right.
He started ripping that guy, about where'd you get these girls and and he wouldn't stop. I mean, he would not stop until they got up and left the fucking room.
Really?
Yes. They got up and left the room. And, of course, they are fucking pissed. And they have every right to be pissed. The guy's like, he's coming up to me, and I go, sir, you were exactly right. That was not right. That was wrong. You shouldn't have done that. So then Rick comes off stage, I think it was in between shows. And how we were they had that back bar back there.
Right.
He comes back to me, and he stands next to me, and he goes, I know I probably should have took that a little too far. He goes, but I got to tell you something, Les. I can't guarantee you that at some time in the future I wouldn't do the same thing. And I said, well, Rick, I understand that, and I'm glad you level with me. So here's what I'm going to guarantee you. You'll never have the opportunity to do that.
Oh, man.
Here again. We both have made, we both made some decisions here. You made a decision, I made a decision. I still love you, but no, I can't have that.
Rick is crazy. Remember that story a long time ago, that one comedian that worked the Sobel circuit and went on stage and he didn't get paid what he's supposed to get paid.
Comedy Caravan.
And the guy said, he's a comic that's passed away. I can't remember his name, from New Jersey or New York.
Okay.
And he got paid, and it wasn't what he was supposed to get. And he said, well, I'm supposed to get this. You shorted me. And he said, no, we never agreed on that. That's my summer pay. And he goes, what do you mean your summer pay? Well, I got summer pay and I got winter pay, because the winter pay is more than the summer, because everybody's, well, I didn't know that. He said, yeah, you did. That's my summer pay. But he didn't tell him. So he goes back up there about 7 months later and works. And he went on stage and he did 25 minutes as a headliner, and he got off. And the guy came back and said, "What are you doing? You got like 35 minutes left." He said, "No, that's my winter show." That's the true
That's
story.
great. That's Tom Sobel was that guy
Sobel,
who
yeah.
who was a good guy, yeah, and probably did make that mistake. Tom Sobel's the first guy that ever, only one of the first guy that ever gave me and Ken's sons a bonus as a
Really?
comedy team, and we were middle acts. I don't know, he gave us an extra $100 or something. We were like, wow, man.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, man, you're always
That was
worried
very
if you were
hard to pry from them guys an extra $100.
Oh, yeah, you were always wondering if you were going to get paid your money.
Oh
you know,
my
right?
gosh, I'm going to tell you this story. You were talking about those girls in the front row. That
Right,
came.
right.
What are the odds of this happening? So, in 2005, I was working the arena in Tupelo, Mississippi, and there was a girl in the front row that was stunning, sitting next to a guy in a cowboy hat. She had a beer in her hand with a Leonard Skinner T-shirt. And Jeremy, my tour manager at the time, came off stage bringing up the opening act. I think it was Reno. Gets off stage and he says to me, he says, "Man, Dan, when you go out there, I'm not kidding. Look in the front row. This is the prettiest girl I've ever seen in my life. You can't miss her. She's in the front row. Guy next to her's got a cowboy hat on. Check her out. Got a Skinner shirt on." Right? So Riley Green, I don't know what year he wrote this, but I heard a Riley Green song about 12 years later. Something like that, 13 years later. And I don't know when he wrote the song. So I heard this song about 4 years ago, maybe. And listen to the lyrics of this song, and you tell me if this was the same girl. And what are the odds that he would write these lyrics? You ready?
Yes.
He goes, "I never knew my old man's truck could even run like that. I should have known better than to take that curves." Wait a minute. No, hold on. That's not the one. Hold on. He goes, okay, ready? "Some folks ask me why I still pick this guitar, saying living that life on the road won't get you very far. I say, man, you should have been down in Tupelo, seen what was in the front row. There was this girl, beer in her hand, shoot me a little Skinnered grin." Dude, I sent a message. I don't know if you ever got it, but somebody knew Riley Green. I said, "You tell Riley Green this story." And I called Jeremy. I said, "Hey, Jeremy, listen to this song. Call me back when you hear it." And he called me back, goes, "Dude, that's got to be the same girl."
Got to be.
I mean, what are the odds of him writing those lyrics in the same place and the same thing that happened?
The most beautiful
Anyway,
girl in Tupelo.
those are just funny road songs, road stories.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You know, so your kids, when we were talking today, I just think it's so cool that you're talking about your son riding bulls and stuff like that.
Right.
And you've owned bulls and all that kind of stuff. You ever ridden a bull?
I've never ridden a bull in my life. I grew up with all that stuff, you know, and I love it. You know, go on a farm, raise pigs.
Yeah.
My wife grew up on a big old Black Angus cattle ranch. So I was always involved with something like that. But when I started making a little money, I started sponsoring Tater Porter. He was in the PBR. He's in Kissimmee, Florida, from that area down there. And another guy in the PRCA named BJ Schumacher. He's a bull rider. Then I got a rodeo team. I started sponsoring a rodeo team, went to national finals all the time and checked out the team. It was just fun. I had a bull that I paid to sponsor. Chicken on a Chain was his name. I had like 7 bulls in the PBR that I paid for. And he ended up winning Bull of the Year in 2008. So I got a really cool Bull of the Year buckle as co-owner of the bull.
Wow.
And it was really cool.
So a bull when the bulls are being rated during each ride, just like the rider is.
Yeah, they get up to 50 points. But the cool thing now is this: I was just paying to put my name on them.
Okay.
And so paying a lot of money, put my name on them. So
Right.
I could have probably owned 12 of his bulls by the time I got done paying what I paid. But the fun of it now for me is to raise them and try to find a good one. So I got a partner named AJ Moz up in Denton, Nebraska, and we got about 40 bucking bulls. We got a bunch of 2-year-olds that need to be bucked. So what we do is I got a whole arena at my house. I bought the 2023 PBR World Finals back shoots and back pins, and got all their sponsor stuff and put it around my pins.
So how do you do? They just naturally do it?
No, you buy bloodlines. You'll just go, no, this is the son of this or the daughter of this.
But I mean, does a bull just naturally buck?
No. Well, yeah.
I mean, somewhat, but I mean,
some will.
But is there some training that goes into it?
You don't know. You have to train them to do it. Basically, what you do if they've never been through the chute before, you just run them through. You run them through. You put them in your back pins. You run them into the chutes. You open the gate. You make sure they get used to where they go out.
Right.
The bull buck, turn around and go out the gate.
Right.
They do it enough times. They know that's what's going on. Before, they don't know what's happening.
Right.
But the more repetition you do, they know this is what they're supposed to do. Then you dummy buck them. You put a dummy on them, and then you see who can buck. One of them will be like, you'll put the back strap on them, and they want to get that off of them. Around the flank, they want to get it off. A lot of people think, you're tying it around their nuts, and you're making that nothing. You don't touch their nuts. It's stupid, It's just that, and so some, he had a pretty good bucker. He bucks pretty good, and he bucks pretty good. And then you do that a little bit. Then you put riders on them. You see how they do with riders. And it depends, it's a crapshoot. Somebody will have like 20 bulls. Like just a while back, somebody had 20 bulls in Montana. They knew we were looking for bulls. They were raising bulls. And said there's a couple good buckers, some aren't. Said, tell you what, I'll send 10 down that way. Buck these 10. If you like those 10, I'll sell you all 20 of them for $3,500 a piece. But it's crapshoot.
Right.
So you may have 4 good ones in there, but there may be 5 good ones in the other one. He doesn't know either. So that's basically what it is. So you train them to go in and out.
But you're training them to come out of the you call it the chute or the pin.
The chute. You get them up into the chute.
Okay. So when the door comes open, they're trained to come out and go for it.
Yeah.
Now, when you say, and so that's all the training. The bucking part, they just naturally want that off their back.
Yeah. Right now, now that they've done this and the genetics and the semen straws, and now the bulls, when you watch the PBR, man, those things are jumping higher. They're twisting more. That's genetics because their old man did it and their mom, So you get you a wild cow and you breed it with a bull, and man, that cow is jumpy, and now you got a bull that's pretty good. And then you just develop them. And here's the thing. If you come across, say you got 40 head, you got 5 of them.
Okay.
Right now we got about 18 that'll be really good buckers in just local fair rodeos where people wanting to win money. Not good buckers.
Okay.
We have one in the PBR. He's 56 and 4. Great bucking bull, Mr. Cooley. And then, but here's the deal: if you buy those bulls, say we hit on some, okay, we want to sell these 6. Say we got 6 good buckers. You get a couple of videos of them, put their bloodline on it. If you bought it, if it was a mom or a son or a grandson of one. If it not, then you put a couple of videos of them bucking, and you put their record of where they were at. You put them on there with some videos, put them in a bull auction. I mean, those things could go for 60, 70, 80 grand because people are looking to put them in their herds and take them, and because you get paid to take your bucking bulls to.
Right. So the bulls that don't make it.
There'll be a Big Mac.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll either do that or they'll somebody will want a bucking bull, or somebody will want a bull to breed their cows or something.
So you do
But generally, here's the thing: they're the most taken care of animals on the planet because those are your investments.
Right.
So you baby the heck.
Oh yeah. I can imagine. Well, so do you do horses too?
We got 5 bucking horses. I'm not those. I don't know as much about the bucking horses. I know more about the bulls. I'm learning about the bucking horses, so I'm learning how to score them now. That's fun for me. I like learning how to score. So now I'm learning how you get a bigger score with the bigger back kicks, bigger, front end, and how the foot plants and the back end goes up. And there's a science that goes to it. Sometimes I'm dead on. Sometimes I'm completely off.
So with a horse too, that's a natural thing that the horse will do, or some types of horses.
A lot of those horses naturally do it. They just want you off of them.
Got you.
But they're the same way though. You got to train them, go in, go out, go in, go out. So they know nothing's going to happen to them, because for the first time you throw them in there, they know what's going on, and the chute gate opens, and they do it enough times, they figure it out. Well, I know what's happening. Somebody's getting on my back, and I got to try to get them off.
So your
There was a bull at the Mesquite. One of my favorite bulls. I can't remember his name. Donnie Gay told me his name. I can't remember. There was a bull in Mesquite Championship Rodeo. Loved this bull, but he knew what he was there to do, and he was a show off. And like clockwork, if he bucked a guy off, he would beeline it towards the right side of the arena, and he'd make a complete lap. He would go around the arena with his tail up and run around, and then run right into the outgate. If somebody rode him, the whistle blew and the guy jumped off, the bull would turn around and run out and leave. He wouldn't make a lap every time. That bull knew what he was doing. If that guy got off before the buzzer, he just could feel it. If he heard that buzzer and there was nobody on him, he would make a victory lap. It was amazing.
So your son starts to ride bulls.
Yeah.
How did Kara feel about that?
Well,
does she, because I mean, my mom. I remember when I played football and wrestled and that stuff in high school. She goes, I'll never come see that, because if you get hurt, I'm coming out. I'd be so nervous, so anxious.
I was nervous.
You doing something that dangerous.
We were both nervous, and we were anxious, and said a couple extra prayers for him. But I'm not going to stop my kid from doing something that he loves to do.
Sure.
And as long as it's, I don't want to be a helicopter parent.
Right.
A lot of kids are scared to do anything now because their parents. It's not that the kid's scared to do it; it's their parents are scared for them to do it.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of kids that probably could do a lot of really cool stuff and be good at it, and they only didn't do it because their parents were scared.
Well, I met when Taylor, my daughter was little, and you get kids and all kinds of. So she was doing gymnastics, like just with kids, but I asked they were little, but I asked the coach. I go, when do they start like doing when they start doing these triple somersaults and stuff? He goes, we call that flying, and he goes, you have to get them flying before they get to a certain age where they know they can get hurt. Mm-hmm. There's an age where they still feel they can fly. Right. That's when you got to get them flying before they'll hesitate, which is when you're going to get hurt the most.
Then the brain forms a little more than they realize.
Exactly right.
Yeah, but I didn't. I knew he loved it ever since he was a little kid. Got pictures of him at 3 years old with chaps and a cowboy hat, riding his little bucking thing he's got. So I didn't want to stop him from doing it, but I just figured if he's going to do it, then I'm going to buy the equipment. I'm going to do it safe. So if you're going to do a dangerous sport like that, you want to make it as safe as possible. So when we did it, I always made sure I had 2 EMTs. I made sure I had 2 of the best bullfighters that we could find. I ended up getting great bullfighters. They worked the big rodeos, the PBRs. So I had 2 great bullfighters, and I had 2 EMTs. And thank God we've done this now for 2 years in my barn. No serious injuries. I got a bull riding team. I got 7 guys on it that were, they just want to be bull riders. They want to do their best. So we're helping them out. Tater Porter came up a couple of times and worked with the kids and got a lot of connections. So Cody Lambert, that started the PBR, he said anytime, Wyatt used to go down and Cody taught him how to do stuff. And So he said anytime I got some kids that want to come down and ride bulls, he'll teach them and help them out. So, it's really fun. I love the sport, but I never once told my kid he can't do it. I did pray a lot. I didn't want him to get hurt. He was tiny, 5'6", $1.25.
Yeah.
And they, at some point, kids will realize, you know what, this isn't for me.
Right.
But here's the thing about bull riding. It'll give a kid confidence. If there's a kid that doesn't have any confidence and he wants to do something like that, and doing it for the right reasons, because he loves it.
Sure.
Not because he's trying to get chicks, trying to act tough. If you do bull riding because you love it and it's fun.
Right.
If you love it and it's fun, you'll get hurt less because you're having fun and you're not worried about getting hurt.
Right.
They always say that. And if you're worried about getting hurt, you're going to get hurt.
Right.
And you know what? He still loves it. And if he wasn't joining an army, he would probably get back on again, see if he could do it again. But
did your daughter do any?
No, she ropes. She can rope anything.
Uh-huh.
She's a good roper.
Does she rope a calf and jump off the horse?
But she roped her first calf a couple months ago. And she's learning her horsemanship. Now, she wants to do breakaway roping.
What's breakaway?
Breakaway is like calf roping, except you just rope them, and then once you catch them, the rope will break away from your saddle.
Oh, okay.
With a little ribbon on it.
Okay.
And then they stop the clock.
Gotcha.
So generally a good breakaway roper is 2.4, 2.2, 1.8, around in that vicinity. So she wants to do that as a hobby.
Sure.
As something fun, not as a career, but that's what she wants. Well, at first she thought that's what they do. Then she found out every barrel racer and every breakaway roper, they're a nurse or a dental assistant, or they do other things.
Sure.
The only ones that really don't do anything else are your bull riders and your bronc riders, because they're out on the circuit and they got to ride every night somewhere. So
do they? And I would assume.
I mean, I'm sure some of them have other jobs, but I mean, your top 15 bull riders this year all won over $160,000, $270,000.
That's what I was going to ask. But that's your top out of everybody.
That's your top guys.
Yeah. Most of them out there doing it aren't making much money.
I'm just talking about your NFR folks, top 15. But even those barrel racers have other jobs. The rough stock might be a little different because those guys, the more money they make, because they want to be in the world finals. Mm-hmm. So they're out there all the time. I don't know if any of them have other jobs or not.
Well, and I guess obviously television's helped. Mm-hmm. Coverage has helped that.
Absolutely.
So much because you never saw it. Really.
Cowboy Channel.
Yeah, absolutely. Going back to you said used the term the bull. You had EMTs and bullfighters. Now, is that? I'm just guessing because I don't know the term. Is that somebody that makes sure that the bull gets away from the person?
Yeah.
Yes, like the rodeo clowns.
Yeah, they'll jump in. They'll jump in front of them.
Right.
It's just evolved into so much bigger. They used to call them rodeo clowns,
but
they do have a rodeo clown, but he does all the jokes and entertainment. Sits in a barrel.
Yeah.
And the bullfighters, they save lives. If they didn't have them, there'd be a lot more people getting hurt. But they'll jump right in. If a guy gets bucked off, that thing turns around, they will jump right in between him and the guy and distract it. And then they'll try to get the hell out of the way too. But sometimes they don't.
Have you ever seen a bull fight?
Bullfight?
Like in Spain, like that kind of thing?
Yeah, that's cruel.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Yeah, from what I'd heard about it, and I had the opportunity, we were over there and we were talking about it, and I was just like, doesn't seem like anything I'm going to enjoy watching a bull get slaughtered. Yeah.
And he suffers and sticking knives in him. No, I don't like it.
Nah, yeah, absolutely.
Bull ride, no. Them things are babied. It's really funny how some of them, they come out and they're all mean a buck, and some of them, not all of them, there's a few of them you go sit on.
Oh, I guess we're getting ready to start the show.